Hello viewers, welcome to this episode with Pimat. In today's episode, we'll discuss other list methods. But first, I would introduce us to slicing in list, how we can slice elements in a list. We'll see how that is done in coding. Then we'll look at other list methods because as you build your blocks of code and the code block is becoming larger, it will be necessary at some point to revisit your list, and trying to adjust from the beginning might become Herculean. So there are methods that you can use to extend your list or sort your list. Now, these are the areas we'll look at today, and we'll see how we can achieve that in coding. Before we go into all of that, I'll first ask that you follow Pimat on this platform. You can also follow Pimat on other platforms, social media platforms. Then you can ask your friends to follow Pimat as well. You can also share this video across your platforms. Let others have them and gain programmatic skills. We'll move on now to the environment so we share perspective on what we have today. So see in coding how we can achieve some of the methods I mentioned. The first is we'll look at how we can carry out slicing of elements in a list. Now, the list I'll use here, I'll define a list here, which I'll call my underscore cars. Let's say I have several brands of cars in my garage, and I'll call these brands of cars. First, I'll have Toyota. Okay. Then I have Ferrari. Okay. Let's say I have Ferrari. All right. Then I have, say, Mercedes. Mercedes. Okay. Then I'll have, let's say I have another car here. Let's call this, Volvo. Okay. Let's call it Volvo. Then let's just think of one other that we can add. Let's think of, you have Toyota, Ferrari, Mercedes, Volvo. We could have Volkswagen. Okay. Volkswagen. Or let's even have these brands of cars. Let's put all of these in. Let's say these are car brands in my garage. Okay. Now, if I have this as my list and I choose to, let's say I want to reduce these car brands. Maybe they are becoming much. You have different brands of these cars in the garage, and I want to reduce the car brands in this garage. There's a method we can use. Let's say I'll call another variable which I can call reduced underscore cars. Okay. I could now say my underscore cars. Okay. My underscore cars. Let's say I want to slice out a few of them. Let's use the first we'll do here. If I use, say, 3 and I put my column here, let's print out to the screen and see the number of cars we have left here. So if I print reduced underscore cars to the screen, let's see the number of cars that we have. What you can see here on the screen, using this method here, you will find that it actually sliced out index position 0, which is Toyota, index position 1, Ferrari, index position 2, Mercedes, and gave us only index position 3, which is what you're seeing here. Now, let's say I choose to just take out maybe 1 and I run this code again. You observe that it has reduced, it took out Toyota, okay, which is in the index position 0, and gave us Ferrari, Mercedes, and Volvo. Okay, so these are ways that you can slice. There are other ways you can also carry out your slicing. Let's say I want to do the slicing in this way. I'll just add one to this. Okay. Now, I did this slicing here and we saw this. Okay. Let's say for again, I want to do the slicing in a different way this time. If I call my underscore cars, okay, or I can say reduced underscore cars, or this one reduce underscore cars to equals my underscore cars. All right. Then I want to slice it. Let's say I'm slicing it between 1 and 3. Okay. Let's do this using this index to achieve what we want. Now let's print to the screen. If I print reduced underscore cars to, let's see what that gives us. This is another way of doing that. You see it has reduced it to only Ferrari and Mercedes. Okay, so these are the ways we can achieve slicing programmatically. So if you notice, we use one, it sliced out Toyota, gave us Ferrari and Mercedes. Toyota is in index position 0. It gave us the one at index position 1 and index position 2. Then index position 3, it took it off. Then that's what you can see here. So programmatically, we can actually achieve this. Sometimes you see, as you build your blocks of code, you don't want to take the pain to go back to the list you earlier defined, okay? The original list in your program. And it has come to a point where you need to do some adjustments. You can use some of this method to adjust your list so that you can continue with your programming without actually going through the pain of returning to the original list that you created and start adjusting, which might in a way affect your coding. All right, so you can do all of this. Now, if along the line, I decided to bring in new brands of cars, okay, let me call this new, I'll call this new cars. I bought new brands of cars. This time, let's say I have a BMW, okay. Then I also included a Volkswagen, okay, Volkswagen. Now, having these two new brands, I want to add them up to the cars I already have in my garage. How do we achieve this programmatically? I can come this way and use the method we call the extend method. I want to extend this list. So all I need to do is to have my underscore cars. Remember, this is the variable name for the cars I defined earlier on. All right, I'll use my underscore cars dot extend. So this becomes the method. What do I want to extend? I want to extend it with the new cars, the new brands of cars I just bought. Okay, so if I print my cars, my underscore cars, I should expect that the list should include the new brands of cars I just purchased. So you can see right here on the screen that it added BMW and Volkswagen to the list. Okay. Now, I could at certain other points want to let's say at certain point, I want to sort this list alphabetically. I want it to print out to me in alphabetical order. There is another method we use here. Let's get rid of this empty cell. I don't need it down here. Okay, so I'll take down this cell. Now, I want to sort my list. All I need to do is